Hello everyone, this is Mr. Brain Junkie here, and today we'll be talking about a science fiction film called Mini Hero. Be ready for some spoilers ahead. Many years ago, there's a legend of a mad scientist by the name of Dr. Finch who one day disappeared into thin air. Ever since then, the house that he lived in has been haunting the people one after the other. An unsuspecting woman wakes up inside a laboratory and quickly realizes that something is very wrong, as a terrifying footage of a scientist appears behind her. The woman runs away immediately as the television continues chasing her and forcing the girl to rush upstairs while trying to escape from the house. However, no matter where she tries to go, she cannot seem to leave the area, forcing her to retreat backwards as a pair of hands grab onto her neck. Luckily, this was only a story told by a man who's trying to scare his customers, but it never gets the right reaction as the people think that he's nothing but a clown. It turns out that his name is Zhang, and he works as a tour guide for the house of Dr. Finch, which is being managed by Mr. Wan, who's turned it into a museum. The boss tells the main character to stop telling the silly stories, which is turning this whole thing into a laughingstock. This causes the man to leave in discouragement as he goes on to gather everyone for lunch. He tells all the customers to leave the area before they miss the bus, but suddenly hears a loud noise that came from the basement. He finds it strange that someone is downstairs who has obviously ignored the signs to never enter, causing the man to go find out what happened. He opens the door to the mysterious basement and is quickly startled by the flashing lights, causing him to trip and roll down the stairs while dropping his belongings at the same time. This includes a bottle of Coke that spills over the floor, which causes a tiny car to short circuit as the man lands right beside the vehicle. Zhang is able to get up right away and is surprised to see the electrical currents inside the room. He tries to move away from the area but ends up stepping backwards onto the small car, which quickly shrinks the man as a result and causing him to fall onto the ground. When Zhang eventually wakes up inside the same car, he quickly finds himself being attacked by a massive insect from the outside, causing him to scream in fear. He immediately goes to the driver's seat and tries to start the vehicle, but the machine refuses to respond no matter what he does. Luckily, the animal is quickly distracted by someone else, who turns out to be a man that's shooting flames towards the enemies and pushing hundreds of ants away from the area. However, before he can disperse the incoming creatures, his weapon quickly runs out of gas, leaving him to be killed by the hordes of enemies. A woman sees this from afar and begins to swing towards the man while jumping over the bugs as she throws the bombs everywhere on the ground. It's quickly revealed that her name is Lily, and she's an expert in combat who's capable of defeating the creatures by using her bare hands. She runs towards the man immediately and tells him that all the explosives are ready before counting down for the explosion like a robot. Very soon, all the bombs explode together, causing massive shockwaves that forces all the enemies to retreat and allowing them to finally win the battle. Zhang sees this and rushes towards the people immediately, but soon realizes that the man is the legendary Dr. Finch, causing the main character to pass out like a damsel in distress. When Zhang eventually wakes up, he tries to figure out what happened, but quickly sees that the doctor is doing what appears to be a horrific operation. This causes him to run for the doors immediately, but soon realizes that the outside world is even scarier as everything is now enormous. Before the man can go back, he sees the doctor charging furiously towards him as the scientist blames the main character for destroying the entire plan. It turns out that Zhang has destroyed the machine which took the doctor 10 years to build, and now he's back to square one, all because of the main character. Lily quickly explains to Zhang about what's really going on, while using her creepy smile to comfort the man, but only results in the opposite effect. The woman shows him the vehicle that he broke and claims that it's actually a particle collider. She reveals that the doctor invented a way to shrink down objects 10 years ago as he begins making everything smaller inside his laboratory. He's able to do this by using the alpha particle to accelerate the process, and the man quickly begins applying this to living creatures while using himself for the experiment. experiment. He eventually made the particle collider in the form of a car and was able to successfully shrink down himself, but the man never thought about the process of enlargement. In order to make himself normal again, he spent the next 10 years experimenting in secret while all the people thought that he simply disappeared. Eventually, Dr. Finch was able to figure out how to reverse the process and return himself back to normal. However, before the plan can be realized, the flashing lights resulted in the main character rolling down the stairs and spilling the drink, which caused the machine to malfunction. When Zhang stepped on the particle collider, which almost killed the doctor, the machine was able to shrink the main character and use up its remaining powers as a result. After realizing what actually happened, Zhang goes towards the doctor immediately as he begs the scientist to turn him back to normal, but Finch only tells the man to leave. This greatly angers the main character as he begins blaming the scientist for shrinking him down, which makes the situation even worse and causing the doctor to push him out. Realizing that he's made a terrible mistake, he quickly begs the scientist to let him back in as there's no way that he'll survive outside by himself. After finally figuring out how to fix the situation, the doctor tells Lily to bring the man inside immediately for the extra help, but quickly finds out that Zhang has already disappeared. At the same time, Mr. Wan has come to the house as well, trying to look for the main character that's refusing to answer his phone. He goes inside the basement to look for his friend, while Zhang has managed to climb onto a table and tries desperately to get the man's attention. Unfortunately, the main character is not able to project his voice after becoming so small and is forced to watch Mr. Wan leave the area as he struggles to improvise for a solution. Luckily, he notices a glass speaker right behind him and manages to push the item away by using the pencil like a lever, causing the object to fall and shatter on the ground. Mr. Wan hears this and rushes back immediately, and the man quickly reveals a terrifying smile as he thinks that it was the professor who was making the noise. It turns out that he's been trying to catch the scientist this whole time, but continuously gets outsmarted by Dr. Finch. Very soon, the man is able to notice the broken beaker on the ground and begins looking towards the table for his prey. Surprisingly, when he peeks onto the surface, the main character has already disappeared as the man was rescued by the doctor just in time. However, instead of thanking his savior, Zhang is still angry at the scientist for locking him out, but Dr. Finch quickly stops the man and tells him that they're in great danger. Apparently, Mr. Wan is trying to capture them and sell them as lab rats overseas, but Zhang obviously lacks the IQ to understand the severity of the situation. Their conversation is quickly interrupted when the giant person has finally found their location, and the man is surprised that Zhang has become so small as well. Instead of trying to help his friend, Mr. Wan begins explaining how he plans to sell them so that he'll finally become filthy rich. The main character is shocked by how quickly his friend is turning on him, while the greedy man tries to grab onto the people immediately. Luckily, they're quickly saved as Mr. Wan is being dragged away by a bunch of gangsters and leaving the tiny humans in confusion. It turns out that the criminals are actually debt collectors, as Wan owes the people a lot of money, and they threaten to cut off the man's arm if the debt is not paid by the next day. On the other side, Zhang has returned to the secret laboratory alongside the doctor, and it's quickly revealed that Lily is actually a robot, which explains her unusual facial expressions. The scientist tells the man to not be distracted as he tries to explain their plan to fix the collider. However, Zhang begins teasing the doctor for being a closet pervert as he built the female robot so he doesn't have to pay for any child supports in the future. Finch refutes the accusations immediately, claiming that he only did it for science. He tells the man to concentrate on what's important and begins explaining his plan, but Zhang continues staring at the woman like a simp. The doctor tells the main character that they have to retrieve a microchip to fix the collider, but the item is inside the transformer that he built, which is being used by Mr. Wan. Luckily, the doctor has planned for a situation exactly like this, as he opens up a closet that's filled by numerous guns and grenades. They go towards the weapons immediately and loads up on everything that they need so they can get ready for the dangerous missions ahead. At the same time, Mr. Wan is also preparing to hunt down the tiny people as he dresses up like Sherlock Holmes, not realizing that clothing can never make up for his lack of of brain cells. Very soon, the small people have also made it towards the enemy's office, and they carefully wait for the giant person to leave the area before they head inside for their mission. They make it towards the transformer and breaks open the outer wall, only to see a dangerous tunnel that's filled by electricity, which would kill the humans immediately. This gives them no choice but to send Lily to switch off the panels, and the woman begins running across the hallway while dodging the lethal energies like Mission Impossible. Lily eventually runs onto the walls as the electrical currents become too difficult to evade, which manages to damage her and knocks her onto the ground. Luckily, the woman is able to recover quickly and finally makes it across the room, which allows her to jump onto the ceilings. She manages to eventually disable the external powers while opening the final door and greeting her friends with the adorable smile that she has. They go towards the mainframes immediately and are quickly able to find the microchip that they're looking for, but the main character wonders how they're going to remove the item. To his surprise, the doctor takes out a rotating chainsaw and begins hacking away at the machine like a madman. Very soon, the professor is able to remove the item, but this also quickly sounded the alarm as well. At the same time, Mr. One begins to look for the tiny people inside the basement, and the man eventually notices something strange that's embedded inside the walls. He runs towards the outlets immediately and takes away the cover, eventually revealing the secret lair that belongs to Dr. Finch. Before the man can figure out what to do next, he notices the alarm that's coming from upstairs, but instead of going there immediately, he plans to trap the people right here. Very soon, the doctor is able to return alongside his friends, but realizes that something is wrong as everything was simply too easy. They go inside the laboratory and the man notices immediately that the particle collider has disappeared while the entire place begins to shake. It turns out that Mr. Wang was the one who took their machine, and the man plans to capture the people inside their hideouts. Zhang peeks outside the doors to locate their enemy, but only sees a massive eyeball that's staring him back. The doctor quickly passes the weapons to his friends, and the people begin to shoot the guns at the enemy's face, forcing one to retreat immediately as he rolls on the ground. The people continue firing their weapons at the man, which causes the enemy to run desperately for cover, but one begins conjuring up a plan as well. The man charges towards the vacuum and grabs onto the machine as he plans to capture the people by sucking them out. One places the vacuum right at the entrance and begins turning on the power, causing everything to fly outside as the people struggle desperately to hang on. Eventually, one turns off the machine and stops the mini hurricane, which allows the people to survive while giving them a terrible haircut. The greedy man begins checking inside the garbage deposit for the people, but quickly realizes that he didn't catch anything at all. He goes onto the electrical outlets to look for the humans, only to see that the people have already escaped into a tunnel, which causes him to get up and scream in anger. Meanwhile, the tiny people continue to climb deeper inside the ground, and Zhang begins to wonder where the tunnel will take them. This turns out to be a very good question, as the scientist has forgotten as well, and it's quickly revealed that the old man never finished digging the tunnel in the first place. This forces them to climb back towards the laboratory, but Dr. Finch thinks that the plan may actually work after all, as their enemy would never expect them to go back the same way. They return inside the building and sees that it's completely unguarded, but their previous battle has destroyed everything that's usable. They go towards the enemy's office right away and sees that Mr. Wan is licking his wounds, but the man is quickly able to figure out the importance of the mini vehicle that he took. This causes him to take a large bowl and puts the particle collider inside the container before grabbing onto a giant scorpion and dropping it inside as well. The doctor sees this and quickly conjures up a plan with his friends. The old man tells the robot girl to swing towards the enemy while grabbing onto a sleeping pill and dropping it inside his water so that the man will be put to sleep. Just like he predicted, one grabs onto the water without suspicion and drinks the entire cup, causing the man to become drowsy immediately and eventually falls asleep on the table. The people sees this and quickly begins the second part of their plan, as they use the candy wrappings to make a bunch of wingsuits so that they can fly towards the particle collider. The people jump off the table immediately and begins gliding across the air, and they are eventually able to make it towards their destination. However, things quickly go wrong as everyone starts releasing their parachutes, and the main character realizes that his pack doesn't work. work. This causes the man to fall down rapidly and eventually crashes into the massive container as he rolls right towards the center, where he quickly runs into the giant scorpion. The enormous monster charges towards the man and tries to tear him apart by using its massive claws, while Zhang is barely able to dodge the attacks and save his family jewels. The man is eventually lifted into the air by the massive creature as he screams desperately for the others to help. Luckily, the people arrive just in time and Lily is able to grab onto the main character and pulls him back to safety. They quickly run away from the area while leaving the giant monster for the robot to handle, and Lily is able to calculate the motion of the creature and easily dodges the attacks. The people run towards the particle collider immediately while the woman grabs onto the scorpion's tail and tries to pull back the enemy so that the others can escape. This allows the people to get inside the vehicle, but no matter how hard they try, they're not able to start the car. Very soon, the woman gets overpowered by the giant creature, which tosses her into the air, but Lily is able to let go just in time, which allows her to dodge the enemy's deadly attacks. The woman takes the chance and launches towards the creature while cutting the animal across the body. She tries to buy more time for her friends by dragging out the fight, but eventually gets damaged by the enemy in the process. The woman decides to run towards the edges and jumps onto the animal's back. This allows her to stab the enemy continuously, but the creature retaliates immediately by piercing the woman as well and tossing her onto the ground. Lily recovers quickly and shoots her cables towards the monster, which allows her to pull onto the animal as she begins running circles around the creature. The woman eventually manages to paralyze the scorpion as she ties it up like a giant lobster, while Dr. Finch is finally able to start the engine of the car. However, the enemy is able to break free in the last moment and stabs the woman before she can enter the vehicle. Zhang sees this and tries desperately to save his friend, but Lily tells the man to stay inside as she's only a robot and not truly alive. She smiles towards the people as the giant scorpion takes her into the air, and Lily is able to throw the controller towards her friends before activating for self-destruction. The doctor presses the gas immediately and charges away from the area, while eventually managing to escape into the air as a large explosion appears right behind them. After managing to leave the area, the people are terribly upset at losing their friend, while the doctor remembers everything that Lily has done for him, which eventually cost her life. The scientist begins telling the main character the truth about the girl, as she was made to resemble the person that he loved the most. It turns out that Dr. Finch used to have a student whose name is Wendy, and she caught the man's attention on the first day that they met. The two eventually started working together, which caused their relationship to grow even closer, and Wendy slowly began to fall in love as well. However, as time went on, the doctor began to ignore the woman's love, as he only wanted to focus on his research, which eventually caused her to leave. He tried to continue the experiment alone, but soon decided to make a robot who resembles the person that he loved. Although Lily was able to help him just like before, the doctor was never able to shake off the feeling of regret after pushing away the woman of his life. The two began walking towards the particle collider as they prepare to become normal once again, but the old man quickly realizes that there's a problem. It turns out that he only has a single alpha particle left, which is only capable of enlarging one person, meaning that one of them will have to remain small. At the same time, Mr. Won has finally woke up, and he quickly realizes that something is wrong as he sees that the tiny vehicle has vanished, causing him to scream furiously once more. He goes towards the basement and begins destroying everything that the scientist owns, while taking out his frustration on the man's belongings. When he finally regains composure, he goes towards the security system and is surprised to see that the doctor is standing right under his camera. As the people continue their arguments, Mr. Won appears behind them to capture his victims, but Finch is able to push away the main character by sacrificing himself in the process. The man takes away the scientist and puts him inside a glass container while he begins taking selfies in celebration and thinking that he's going to be rich. Just when things are looking hopeless, the doctor realizes that Zhang has turned on the particle collider as the man is planning to save the scientist no matter the cost. The professor tells him to stop right away, but Zhang ignores the warnings and starts the vehicle, causing him to charge towards the scientist immediately. The car begins to fly off the table as it glides into the air, while the man is heading straight for the glass glass container. The enemy sees this and tries desperately to stop the vehicle, but Dr. Finch has figured out a better way to save everyone. He decides to enlarge the main character immediately and activates the particle in mid-air, which causes the man to jump away from the car. Zhang quickly grows back to normal size and uses the momentum to knock out the enemy by bashing the man's face and posing like a superhero. Sometimes later, the main character goes on television to share the new technology with everyone and assures the people that Dr. Finch is still alive. It turns out that the scientist has decided to find Wendy once again and finally proposes to her, while Zhang sees the couple and begins congratulating for their happiness. On the other side, Mr. One is also getting what he deserves as he gets put into a container alongside another scorpion, which forces the man to run desperately for not paying all the money that he owes. So what do you guys think about this movie? Let me know in the comments below, and if you like my videos, please press like and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys next time.